Okay, today when we're talking about our sourdough starter, I've had so many questions of this. Now, I have to be honest that I've asked a lot of those questions in the comments were basically things that sounded a lot like this. I put all the ingredients together in my jar and I left it alone for 3 or 4 days. I came back and there was mold. What did I do wrong? Everything. It's a garden. You can't throw seeds out in it and then come back, a month later and expect to have a beautiful garden and not have weeds take over it. So you do have to tend to your sourdough starter, even though the method that I showed you is extremely easy and low maintenance. You still do have to check it every day and see how it's doing. Stir it around, give it some air. If it's looking a little watery or has too much hooch, you need to give it a little more flour so that it can feed. You don't usually ever have to discard with the method that I showed you, but you do have to watch it to see if it needs a little more water, if it's too thick, if it needs a little more flour because it's too thin. Help it to make sure that it's being fed, because here's the thing. Mold and cultures, because what you're growing in your sourdough starter is cultures. There's good yeast, there's good bacteria. The cultures are the mortal enemy of the mold. And if you have a good, healthy sourdough starter, they will overcrowd and prevent the mold from developing. Kind of what I just said about the garden. If you have a good, healthy crop of vegetables and you throw out a cover crop, they will get so thick and so productive that they will crowd out the weeds and the weeds won't take over it. But if they're weak and there's not very many plants in the garden, then yeah, the weeds are going to take over. So again, you don't have to be, in completely neglecting it. Like I mentioned a while ago, that many in the comments kind of seemed like they were doing. You can actually be doing everything right and still get mold in your sourdough, because this is a battle between the cultures and the mold for the flour that you're using. But we're going to talk today about the different things that will help to strengthen your sourdough cultures so that the mold doesn't win the fight, and the things that will actually strengthen the mold that will cause your cultures to lose the fight. So what we want to learn today is how to tend to the garden of our sourdough starter so it can be strong and healthy and thrive. This is one of the reasons that I think it's so effective when you do the method that I have in my other video, and I will link it for those who may not have seen it. Because when I start the sourdough starter, I'm starting it with live active cultures from my homemade yogurt. You can use kefir if you need something that's dairy-free. You can use buttermilk for those who can have dairy. But basically something that has live active cultures in it. That's basically like throwing out the seeds in your garden and getting that cover crop going really quickly. You're giving a boost to the good active live cultures and bacteria that's going to help to fight against and to counter the mold that from the beginning is trying to take over your sourdough starter. A little pro tip here is that you can actually add live active cultures to things like your homemade mayonnaise to make it last a lot longer in the fridge. So if you make mayonnaise at home, it's going to go bad within a few days. But if you add a little bit of the yogurt culture or some live active cultures from anything that you are souring yourself at home, it's actually going to make that mayonnaise last for weeks, if not months, in the fridge. So those cultures are combating or fighting against the bad bacteria that's trying to ruin your food, and it will give it a longevity. So having said that, what we want to do is to seed the good cultures, the good bacteria in our sourdough starter. And we want to prevent anything that might be seeding the mold. So there's two things primarily that are going to introduce mold in abundance to your sourdough starter that might help that mold to get over, on your cultures and outgrow them. If you're introducing mold from the environment, because there's a lot of mold in the environment, for example, if there's mold in the house, it's going to be really hard to make a sourdough starter that doesn't have mold in it. Sometimes we have mold in the house and don't even realize it because, as long as the air conditioner's running, it's kind of hiding, but it's there. Also, if you have like a fruit bowl nearby that has some moldy fruit in it, that can actually jump to your sourdough starter and get mold in your sourdough starter. So the first thing you want to do is check your environment. When you start your starters, make sure that all of your tools and utensils are clean. I don't use harsh chemicals when cleaning these things because the good bacteria and the good yeast are also coming from the environment. So we don't want it too sterile. If it's too sterile, that can cause mold too, because the mold is going to survive where the good cultures won't. But just, water, hot water, and soap if necessary. But make sure that you have removed all soap residue, because if there's soap residue on your jar, that can cause mold as well because it can kill your good bacteria. So check your environment for mold, moldy fruit, mold in the house. That can be introducing mold to your sourdough starter. But the most likely culprit is probably the flour itself. This is one of the reasons I like to use ancient grains when making my sourdough starter, and why a lot of people use rye flour. Because the modern wheat that you buy at the store typically does have a lot of mold spores in it. And that's one of the reasons that it actually makes people sick more than anything else. It's not technically the gluten, well, it is partially the gluten because of the way that they changed it when they modified it back in the 50s. They crossbred it with a weed that is hard for our bodies to digest. But in the modification process, because they created this wheat that is a lot more productive, so everybody uses it, and the husk on it is not as tight, so you don't have to thresh it and do all the work that was necessary to remove the chaff like you used to have to do in the old days. Now it's so loose that most of it falls off before the harvest and the rest of it falls off in the harvest process. So they've eliminated a whole part of the harvest process, which saves them money. It produces more, which saves them money, but it makes you sick. You can't digest it. And because there's no husk or hull on it, for the most part, while it's producing, mold grows on the wheat berries. And of course, there's no way to check each wheat berry for mold. It all just gets harvested together and ground up together. So any modern wheat that you're buying in the store, that flour has mold spores in it. That's one of the reasons that there is so many wheat allergies these days, because it's really a mold allergy. So modern wheat can introduce a lot of mold into your sourdough starter. That doesn't mean that you can't still produce a sourdough starter from modern wheat. It just means that you're going to be a lot more likely to grow mold, and you're going to have to work even harder to have to get over on that mold and get your starter good and strong. Once your starter is strong, the mold is not going to stand a chance against it. The good bacteria in there are going to deal with the mold and prevent it itself. Another issue with modern flour that you have to be careful with is that a lot of it is bleached. You do not want to use bleached flour. Bleach is a sterilant. It kills things, and you are trying to grow things. You don't want to add weed killer to your garden while you're trying to plant your good seeds, basically. So you want to make sure that it's unbleached, and you also want to make sure that your water is chemical free. Again, chlorine is to kill bacteria, and you're growing good bacteria, good cultures, good yeast, all of these things. So anything that's meant to sterilize or kill those things, like chlorinated water or bleach in the flour, those are things that are going to kill your good seed and allow the weeds to take over, because the weeds are just a little more robust against those chemicals. So I hope that helps. These are some things that you need to kind of watch out for, try to eliminate, and be careful, and just kind of check your starter every day. If you're using the method that I showed you, you want to check it every day. I stir mine every day, even if it doesn't need to be fed, if it doesn't need to have any flour added to it or anything. I still stir it around, kind of get some air in there, and just help it to it just helps it. And plus, once you stir it, then you can really tell the texture, because maybe it's light and fluffy and bubbly on top, but maybe once you stir it, you begin to see, ooh, it's a little thin and runny. I need to add some flour to it. It's getting hungry. So check it every day, stir it, add water if it's too thick, add flour if it's too thin. And then usually for me, when I start from scratch, I'm usually able to start using it within 3 or 4 days, using the method that I gave you in the other video. I have never actually had mold form in this method, in using this method of creating sourdough in the house that I currently live in. In the house that I used to live in, I tried to make sourdough. Now, granted, I was using the regular method that everybody uses at that time, and I got mold. But I found out later that there was mold in the house, so there was mold in the environment. So I just didn't even bother, didn't try. So this method that I've given you is very good. It's very effective. It's very easy, but it is a garden. You are going to have to tend it. You are going to have to kind of seed it and help it to grow so that it can compete and overpower the weeds, metaphorically speaking, talking about our good cultures versus the mold.